Hello everyone, and welcome to our next episode of our live stream series. Whether you're joining us live or watching a replay, thank you all so much for joining us here tonight at 7 p.m., where we have a discussion with a number of our founders across both our Economic Growth Accelerator and Circular Economy Incubator programs. And tonight is particularly exciting for me as I'm joined by two amazing entrepreneurs on our Economic Growth Accelerator program. We have Sindisiwe Chuma, who is the founder of eTechnologist, and then we're also joined by Shanaaz Effendi, who is the managing director and finance manager of Rizik Link Engineering. Welcome to you, ladies, both. Welcome for joining us. How are you, ladies, feeling?
Thanks, Bata. It's great being here.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Shanaaz.
Bata, for the lovely introduction. It's lovely to be here with everybody.
Great stuff. And I think, to start us off, please may each of you ladies just share a little bit about your journey and a little bit about your businesses. And so what has really led to the point that you're at right now? So I'll kick off with you, Cindy. Tell us a little bit about your business and just the journey to establishing and developing e-technologies.
All right, as Bata has explained, my name is Sindisiwe Chuma. I am the founder of eTechnologist, which is a startup that's currently focusing on bridging the skills gaps in the ICT sector. The reason why I decided to be the change I want to see is because I went through similar challenges that I'm now coming up with solutions for. The biggest gap currently that we're facing, we are always complaining about not having enough skills, whereas on the other hand, universities are producing masses of university graduates that have got the relevant skills. So there seems to be a gap between industry and academia. And that's where we come in because we've been through that. And I'm definitely sure that each and every one of us in this live stream has been. So that's the space where I play currently.
Amazing. And I think, Cindy, that is such an important thing that you've spotted, and absolutely incredible just the work that you're doing as well. And for you, Shanaaz, can you tell us a little bit about your business and how was Rizik Link born and birthed, and everything?
Okay, so Rizik Link was founded by my parents. It is a ship repair and maintenance company. So we do specialized engineering, where we do repairs to huge vessels, such as your mining vessels. And by doing engineering, specialized engineering and fabrication. The company was founded in 1997. My father saw a gap in the market, and started out, from humble beginnings. It started off as labor broking, where you would supply a welder or you would supply a boiler maker. But then the business grew, and he had to start doing big projects where he would then have to handle, the job from A to Z. So that would be buying the material and supplying the labor. And so in 2004, when I actually completed matric in 1994. But when I completed matric, because we weren't by the means for me to go and study, I worked in the bank, and I started from being an inquiry clerk to becoming a sales manager. But in 2004, my father asked me if I want to join him in the business, and I haven't looked back since.
Wow.
And I think, like for me, it's like so comforting to hear that, and just to hear, your journey of how, you went straight into the banks and then to joining the business, and then really just, being a part of really developing and growing that business. Incredible stuff, Shanaaz, like incredible. I think for me, it's been so incredible just to see the growth of both of your businesses. I've been so inspired by the progress of your businesses across, South Africa, and really just in the Economic Growth Accelerator program. And I know with you, Sindisiwe, I know that the goal of your business was really, to develop a really great and robust team. And so congratulations for your full-time employee hiring. Yep. So big congratulations to you on that side. And so my question to you then is, do you have any advice to share with our audience just in terms of how did you take those necessary pivotal steps in your business to acquiring and hiring individuals? So how did you do it?
So the first thing that you need to do is to do an evaluation of where you are, what you need, where you are going, and what you are going to need to get to where you're going. Start with the available resources, make the most of what you've got. You don't always need a huge sum of money and a big team to start. And then as soon as you've gotten a framework in place, then improve on the framework and take learnings from everything that you've done that went well and did not go well, then improve on it. And then as soon as you can map out processes that can help you delegate, then find somebody else that can assist. So that's the approach that I took, and I will build on it as again to now improve on the existing framework as well as the processes and build a bigger team that can run by itself without me being there.
Oh yes. Oh yes. And I think, look, I definitely agree with that strategy in terms of evaluation and then, in terms of building that framework. And I think what I loved about what you said now in the last part is, building businesses that effectively run themselves, right? And so really looking at that sustainability point of view from your end, which is amazing. I'm just looking at some of the comments in our chats. I see we've got Elizabeth Chiza, who is our incredible mentor across, a large number of our programs. She says, happy to be connected. Welcome, Elizabeth. And then we have Zoe as well, who shares, hello, Shanaaz and Cindy. I see she's joining in from our Facebook platform as well. And then we have Naomi, who dialing in from LinkedIn, says, wise words and special inspiration. Thank you so much, ladies. So yeah, no, definitely. I think with you, Shanaaz, with your business, Rizik Link Engineering, and also understanding that it has been established for a much longer period of time. And I've also just heard your shared vision around employing as many people as possible, and feeding many more families to come, especially in South Africa, and understanding our current unemployment crisis. So I think it's truly inspirational that you have that shared vision. And so, my question to you then is, can you please explain how your processes work in terms of permanent and project-based employment as well, just to provide that kind of know-how to our audience?
Is it me or Shanaaz?
Yeah, I've just I think my internet's a bit bad, so I hope you ladies can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. Well, currently we have a permanent staff complement of 15, and that consists of our top management, who is your finance manager, your HR, your project manager, procurement manager, your general manager. And then we also have 5 supervisors. So they are our qualified and certified welders, boilermakers, and pipe fitters. And together they share about 150 years of experience.
Wow.
We also have a quality controller who ensures that our quality is always up to standard. A safety officer, especially in our industry, where we're working with huge machinery and equipment and so forth. Our safety is very important. We have 2 storemen, a driver, and we've also now employed a mechanical engineer. She just finished her degree, and she's come to work with us permanently. But when we're on a project and we repair a vessel, for instance, on our last project, we had 120 contract workers, which I'm very humbled to say that we could do that. It was a very pivotal time for Rizik Link to be able to employ that amount of people. So we employ the skilled workers like your welders, your boilermakers, your pipe fitters as the projects come in. And once the vessel is complete, we would then pay them out their bonuses and everything else that is due to them. And when another project comes in, that is how we would do it, because financially, that wouldn't make sense for us to keep on 80 people at a time for a full year, for instance,
Yeah.
So our aim is obviously the more projects we have, the longer we can keep the people and keep people in work and earning money. So yeah,
And I think
that's
that, and I think, Shanaaz, that's absolutely incredible, just to also hear about your achievement in terms of having, that many number of people, even on a part-time or contractual basis. It's absolutely incredible. I see Chantal Goliath joining in from our LinkedIn family. She says, amazing ladies, love this connect and sharing of stories, wisdom, and milestones. Chantal Goliath is a founder on our Circular Economy Incubator program. So welcome, Chantal, to the conversation as well. And so just a little bit about building our teams and really expanding and growing our businesses. Just a question on our side is about what key tips can each of you offer in relation to building a team and developing people in your businesses, including your own growth and that of current or prospective employees. Cindy, I think you can go first on this question here.
The first thing that I did was to get advice from professionals that are experts in the HR space, just to simplify the complexities of hiring, because for me it was a maze. I then took the simplest approach that's feasible for me at the time, in line with the tax complexities, labor laws, and everything else that comes with it. Then shortly after that, I then found talent that was in line with the role that I had at the time, and we had a conversation, and that was it. That's simple.
And that was that. And I think, Cindy, what's very important is what you've said in terms of asking advice from the relevant individuals, right? As opposed to trying to figure it out on your own. And I think it was very critical for you to have done that ask from the onset. And so thanks for sharing that, Cindy. And with you, Shanaaz, having quite a large, robust team already, and that's building and growing. What key tips can you offer in relation to building that team?
Right. So building a team and developing people, I think this is something that's very passionate to myself. I believe that when it comes to people, it's not always the experience, but it's also about the attitude. If you employ the right people with the right attitude and they're willing to learn, it's easier to teach someone that's willing to learn. And if I can give you an example, we employed a young lady who just completed her mechanical engineer degree. So she's got the theory, and she now works with us, and we're actually giving her the tools to be able to do what she's learned in theory. But we're also teaching her to become a project manager. Another example that I can give you is we had a young guy who also finished matric. So before we never had a permanent safety officer. We would employ the safety officers as the project comes in, and he would always assist the safety officer. But because we saw the potential that he had, and he was really eager to learn that. We invested in him, and he did the safety officer course, and now he's a qualified safety officer, you know. But not just in people, but if I can give you an example for myself, like I say, I came from sales. I was put into a financial management position. And at the time, what I did was I basically did a course at UCT on financial management. And one of the things that I've learned is that sometimes we always think that, okay, right now the business doesn't have enough money for me to go on a course. But on one of my coaching sessions that I went on, they taught me that it is so important that you actually invest in yourself. And sometimes it's not money, but it's time. So you need to prioritize time to actually go and learn something. So I've put aside 3 hours a week. So for 3 days, for an hour, you go onto YouTube. You have so much access. If you want to know how to read a financial statement, or do a cash flow forecast, or just anything in general, it is so accessible to us. We just need to make the time, because knowledge is the one thing that no one can take away from you, and it gives you the confidence to be able to interact with people and do whatever you need to do for the business.
And, Shanaaz, I agree with you 100%. And, just looking at some of the comments that are coming through in our chat from our community, I see that, Tanganani says, hello, ladies. It's great to hear from founders that are actively contributing towards our economy and investing in the future of the employees. I think to what you were alluding at, Shanaaz, Elizabeth came through and she commented and said from our LinkedIn community, she says, it takes the right attitude and mindset. This is so true. I see as well from our LinkedIn community, Gregory Peterson says, well done, ladies, and thanks for sharing. I trust our up and coming businesswomen are listening. And I think that is so critical. Naomi then also double taps and says from our LinkedIn community, such key tips, Cindy and Shanaaz, and it's so important to consider for employing people and investing in yourself. So absolutely crucial. Gregory then double taps and also shares a little bit more by saying, self-investment is key. Thanks for that advice. And honestly, for me, it's absolutely crucial what you've shared. And thanks for that advice, Shanaaz. Coming from your end. And so just a little bit around that self-investment and also just double tapping onto perseverance. We also understand that entrepreneurship has its challenges, right? And there's absolutely no question that the entrepreneurial journey can be extremely challenging, and also so profoundly fulfilling. And so, just to help inspire and encourage our audience in their businesses, which hurdles have you each encountered in your businesses and found to be the most difficult? And how did you overcome these?
The first, there's so much that one has to know when they venture into entrepreneurship. Your skill set it makes up at least 30% of the skills that you need. The remaining skills are not from your area of expertise or area of knowledge. So you really, really need to have people skills. You've got to be in the right communities to access. You must be bold and confident enough to go out and ask for assistance. You must take risks, calculated risks, obviously, that will yield the returns or the results that you're looking for, and be vulnerable, so that you can be able to ask for help when you are stuck or are stressing or are not getting the results that you're looking for. So those are some of the things that one goes through, that also make you stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. And Cindy, I love what you said there in terms of being vulnerable and being not afraid to ask. I think so much of the time, and particularly around women, we tend to become shy and afraid to just ask for help, and being vulnerable in that sense. So definitely key thing. Thanks, Cindy. And for you, Shanaaz, just in terms of what are some of the challenges and hurdles that you've experienced along the way.
Mhm. Yeah, it's like you said, but being an entrepreneur, if you don't have challenges, you're not an entrepreneur. No, but it's a choice that you make, and
Mm,
it is how you look at things. And if you talk about challenges, I think the first thing that would come to my mind would be COVID. But I'm so tired of talking about COVID. I want to just put that behind me. Um, but yes, and I don't think if you can give me a business that says they don't have a cash flow problem, then I mean,
mm,
come on, show me the money, you know. So cash flow, I mean that's just it's something that I think will always be there. But one of the things I've learned, and I think this also comes with self development, you
mm,
need to surround yourself with like-minded people.
Mhm.
For example, warm up,
Yeah.
they've given us the skills to overcome a lot of our challenges. And if I
mm,
can tell you, when it comes to cash flow, they taught me it's all about planning. Yes, you can, it won't work out to the T, but it does help you. If you have a plan for what you want to do with that money, somehow that money
mm,
will come, you know, because you've put a plan in place and you've prepared yourself, and you can basically almost foresee what is going to happen. I think it's important also. One of the things that we as a business had to do was reinvent ourselves. I mean, during COVID, there was no
oh,
vessels coming in,
yeah.
and that was for a good few months. And so, and I mean, that's our core business. We service vessels, we
True.
do repairs. So we've had to relook at our business, and we looked at other avenues, and we started supplying steel or
Mm, mm,
supplying materials.
mm,
And that is what kept us going. And, it's what kept our doors open, because there were many companies, unfortunately, which was so heartbreaking, that had to close their doors. And by the grace of God, our doors are still open. So we must have done something right.
mm, And I just love what both of you ladies had said in terms of, the very first thing, surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals, and then just from you, Shanaz, your point around pivoting, right?
Mm,
And rethinking and reinventing yourselves as, from a business point of view. I think is absolutely important. Just looking at some of the comments in the chats, which has been absolutely amazing from our community. Michelle mentioned earlier around our employment topic, around just how Shanaz, she says, I like that Shanaz is giving a graduate an opportunity to be a project manager, which is a role normally reserved for the more experienced professional, and graduates miss out on learning the project cycle from initiation stage. And
mm,
thanks for that, Michelle. And I
thank
think
you.
that is absolutely spot on in terms of what you've highlighted. Um, we have Korba from our Circular Economy Incubator. She says, from our Facebook community, she says, well done, ladies, making us proud. And I couldn't agree more. Definitely. We have Rachel coming in from our LinkedIn family. She says, I couldn't agree more, ladies. Thank you for putting so much emphasis on self investment, realizing employees' potential, and the need to take calculated risks. Definitely. And I know, Cindy, you mentioned that earlier. Elizabeth then says as well, Cindy, very valid takeaway points. Thank you. And then Indelisa, who is joining us from the Sasol Women in Engineering Incubator Program, She then says from our Facebook community, she says, I totally relate to getting the other skills. I'm technical, and for years I thought that's all I needed to make the business grow. Where was I
Same.
wrong? I'm happy that today I can pick up the phone and make sales calls. And I know she's definitely alluding to what you mentioned, Cindy, earlier on. Kweba then also then shares challenges are only stepping stones to growth, and Shanaaz's perfect example of mindfulness. So
Mhm.
absolutely amazing, just the engagement that we're getting from our community. Gregory then adds to that and says, I love the share around the cash flow challenge, a reality for all businesses, and very good advice, planning. And then Rachel definitely alludes to that. She says flexibility is of vital importance in business. And then again, just rounding up from the comments section of things, Elizabeth says, thanks to WimHub, I agree with you, Shanaaz. And so thank you so much for the engagement that we're receiving in our chat. Please continue to engage with us. We love to see the comments that we're getting from our various platforms and our family across those platforms. Um, and so, just as we come to the wrapping in of our conversation, so now that you ladies have told us exactly what you do and how you've developed as your businesses, where can we find you? Where can people get a hold of your services and so forth? So, Cindy, on your side, how can people get a hold of you?
You can email me on Cindy, Sindi, at eTechnologist.engineer. Please connect with me on LinkedIn. I will be delving deep into more technology specific topics in the near future.
Great, and we look forward to that. Thanks, Cindy. And your in Shanaaz, how can people get a hold of you?
Okay, you can find me at Shanaaz at riziklink.co.za, or you can go to our website, which is www.riziklink.co.za.
Great. And both of those email addresses are going across your screen. So do jot that down if you'd love to connect with both Cindy as well as with Shanaaz. And so just as we come towards the last stretch of our time together, I think, it has been such a fruitful conversation around just some of those key takeaways from the both of you, in terms of how you are the change and being the change that we need in our country. And so, do either of you have any final thoughts or pearls of wisdom to leave us all with, and perhaps pearls of wisdom for the upcoming future of women in business in South Africa?
Business is not only for men, it's for
Oh,
all of
yes.
us. It's really about solving real life issues. It doesn't take a man. And you'll be so surprised. Men are very supportive in this space, especially when you're solving problems that are relevant to everyone. And
Mm,
your attitude also matters. It draws the right people. So also invest in yourself and build your persona in a way that it gets you attention of the right
mm.
people. Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's
I
my
love that.
advice.
I love that. Absolutely love that. Thanks, Cindy, for that. And Shanaaz, on your side, final thoughts and pearls of wisdom.
Okay. Right. I can only say that entrepreneurship it can be a lonely and desperate journey at times. And so that is why it is so important that you believe in your company, you believe in what it stands for, because if you can do that,
Mm-hmm.
you can do anything. You can be dedicated, you can persevere, and you can have that positive mindset. Because at the end of the day, we are women and we can do
Mm,
it.
mm, mm. Love that. Absolutely love that. And thank you both for sharing those pearls of wisdom and being with us here tonight. So thank you so much, everyone, from our various platforms joining in and from our community. We trust that this conversation was insightful as well as inspirational. And so thank you both ladies for making the time. You can also catch our replay if you've missed parts of the session. We will be replaying this session as well. So again, stay tuned for more of our live stream series where we have every other Tuesday at 7 p.m. South African time. And so thank you all for joining our session tonight on Being the Change. Have a lovely evening, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.